So thanks again for that overview. We also now want to introduce the next panel, which is the country of Georgia, which has a very long and strong relationship with U.S. From a political perspective, from an economic perspective, and we are very fortunate to have today Nino Kakulia from Enterprise Georgia, which is the investment agency of Georgia, Shota Gogia from AE Solar, an investor in Georgia, and George Welton, who is executive director of the American Chamber of Commerce in Georgia. And thanks for you guys for being on the panel here. So without further ado, on to you guys.
Hearing what I'm saying, so I'm just going to talk and work on the assumption that people are out there and listening. I'd like to welcome you to Georgia. I'm speaking from the American Chamber of Commerce in Georgia, and my name is George Welton. I'm the executive director of AmCham Georgia. As a very brief introduction, the American Chamber of Commerce in Georgia is one of the biggest, in fact, is the biggest international business association in the country. Having been around now for 25 years and having a huge amount of influence and impact across the country as a whole, And I'd welcome anybody who wants to reach out to Georgia. You're most welcome to get in contact with me. I'm sure the information is available on this platform, but you can also easily look me up online through AmCham.ge. I'm very excited today to introduce Georgia to the group. Mostly I understand coming from Central and Eastern Europe, and from most of whom I imagine are probably are familiar with us, and our American cousins, many of whom may not be quite so familiar with us. I'm mostly here to sort of introduce and moderate the panel with Nino and Shota. Nino is the Chief Investor Relations Manager for Enterprise Georgia, which is the principal entity for managing both in-country investment and foreign direct investment into Georgia, and has been doing sterling work over quite a few years, encouraging FDI into the country and providing support structures for that FDI when it comes. Shota is the Deputy General Manager of a company called AE Solar that has been producing solar cells in Georgia, significantly at the moment targeting the US market, as I understand, though Shota will be in a better position to sort of give you the background. So without further ado, what we'll do is we'll have Nino start out with a brief introduction of Georgia as a whole, followed by Shota to talk about his experience. And then if we have time, we'll circle back. I'll ask a couple of questions, and if any questions come up on the chat, I will refer those to the group. So Nino, over to you.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction. It is my pleasure to participate in this summit today and give you a presentation about business and investment opportunities of Georgia. As Mr. Welton already introduced you, my name is Nino Kakulia. I'm Chief Investor Relations Manager at Enterprise Georgia. And Enterprise Georgia is an agency which operates under the Ministry of Economy and Sustainable Development of Georgia and is mandated to contribute to the development of private sector, promote and attracting foreign direct investments in country, and enhancing country's export potential. Let's get started our presentation and look at what Georgia offers to foreign investors. Imagine you are observing a world map and try to identify Georgia. What you will see very easily is that Georgia is a very small country, but strategically important geographic location, as it is located in the Caucasus region between Russia and Turkey, Caspian and Black Sea, and it can be said that it represents a crossroad between Europe and Asia. So Georgia is a small country, but crucial geographic location, open and liberal market economy, and exceptional business environment. Now I want to tell you what Georgia offers to foreign investors in the most direct way possible. Georgia has small market, but it has tariff-free access to 2.3 billion consumer market around the world, because Georgia has free trade agreements with Asia, with China, with the European Union, with Turkey, Russia, CIS countries, etc. We are the country which is recognized as one of the easiest place to do business in the world. According to the World Bank, Georgia is the 7th easiest country to do business in the world. We can offer competitively priced and skilled labor force, which is also very productive. And Georgia is a country with low taxes and simple taxation. We are 3rd least tax burden country in the world. Now let's look at how Georgia is standing out. It should be mentioned that Georgia has made a remarkable progress in terms of political, economic, and social development over the last decade. And today, country's economy is flexible, diverse, and resilient to external shocks. Our progress has been well recognized and applauded by the international community. For example, Georgia ranks 12th in the Index of Economic Freedom published by the Heritage Foundation. We are also leader in terms of fighting with the corruption in the wider region. According to the Trace Bribery Risk Metric, Georgia is 27th country out of the 200 countries around the world. We're also one of the safest country in the world. According to Numbers Safety Index, we are 4th safest country in the world. And also when it comes to Rule of Law Index, we are first, not in the world, but in Eastern Europe and Central Asia region. I want to also highlight that Georgia has a national consensus in political orientation, including Euro-Atlantic integration, our strong growth and efficient government. This has paved the way for a signing of association agreement with the European Union, including deep and comprehensive free trade area, which is the recognition that Georgia is adopting European values, and this association agreement also ensures and guarantees our political and investment climate in the country. As I already mentioned, in Georgia, it is very easy to do business. You spend less time on paperwork than in average OECD income countries. Now let's look at the economic outcome of Georgia. What is the trends and what are our economic growth? As a result of bold institutional reforms and significant improvements in business environment, Georgia has become one of the most interesting countries for foreign investors. Azerbaijan, United Kingdom, Turkey are the largest investors in Georgia. Also, we have achieved very strong growth between 2015 and 2019. Compound annual growth period during this period was 4.1%. Of course, this current pandemic has a huge impact on our economy, especially on the export of goods, tourism, and remittances, which are all very important pillars of our economy. And the hospitality sector became the main source of fluctuations in our economic growth. However, a country has a sound macroeconomic framework, exceptional business environment, and also a robust public finance management arrangements that ensures and guarantees that country will overcome this COVID pandemic quite smoothly. My next point is that Georgia really has growth-friendly tax environment. Tax environment. We are third least tax burden country in the world. We have very low taxes with low rates. For example, we have just 6 flat taxes. Corporate income tax is 15%, income tax is 20%, and value-added tax is 80%. Excise depends on the goods, and import tax is 0%, 5%, and 12%. But what is very important, we have zero tax on reinvested profit, which means that if a company reinvests its profits and do not distribute its earnings, they pay no taxes at all. So Georgia can become also the regional hub. We are ideal nearshoring destination because the shortest route from China to Asia passes through. From China to Europe passes through Georgia. Traditional sea route takes up 45 days, while new route takes up only 10 or 15 days. In addition to that, Georgia really improved its value proposition as a transit country by improving its transport infrastructure and also simplified its border clearance procedures. So after the pandemic, when pandemic showed us a real disruption in supply chain, countries and companies try to find new places, new locations where lower costs are matched with lower risk. So Georgia is really such kind of place. Also, very important point is that 80% of the goods are exempted from the import tax in Georgia. We do not have any quantitative restrictions. And what is very important, Georgia has free trade agreements with 3.2 billion consumer market around the globe. Although Georgia is a small market from the global market standpoint to fully utilize economy of scale. However, producing in Georgia doesn't mean to have access only Georgian market, but also European market, Asian market, CIS market, Turkey, and so on. So companies can benefit this opportunity, come to Georgia, invest in Georgia, produce in Georgia, and then export preferentially to those markets without paying additional taxes. And you can see that Georgia has very low salaries. However, we have young, skilled, and competitively labor force. Average monthly salary in manufacturing is only $227, and average monthly salary in customer services is only $440. And as you can see on the slide, those salaries are far less than in our competitor countries. And especially important and crucial thing is that labor productivity is growing in Georgia. So we have productive, young, and also competitively priced labor force. We as a country, we are investing in our education system. We have 64 higher education institutions and 66 vocational education schools. They are suggesting market with skilled and qualified laborers. You can see that over the last 5 years, how many students graduated from a technical subject, which is really important to the current world. Also, Georgia is very competitive in terms of utility costs. We are producing 80% of our electricity by ourselves, by hydropower plants, which leads to cheap energy costs. Electricity, industrial gas, and water prices for them are far less than in our competitor countries. And what is very important, in addition to that, a government of Georgia tries and demonstrates to show its commitment to foreign businesses by suggesting new incentives and kind of a investment incentives as well. We have for free industrial zone in Georgia, which means that if a company produces inside the free industrial zones, they are exempted from all taxes if they export from those industrial zones. Also, companies who are operating inside industrial zones can get simple procedures while asking licenses and permits. In addition to that, we have very new tax incentive for international companies who are operating in maritime and IT industry. In particular, companies who get the international company status in Georgia, they will pay less taxes than the companies who do not have such kind of status. For example, such kind of companies will pay 5% of profit tax instead of 15, 5% of income tax from salaries instead of 20, and 0 on dividend and withholding tax. So this is a really, really huge incentive. In addition to that, our agency provides co-financing and loan interest rate financing opportunities. In addition to that, we are also providing with free land investors, which means that if a company decides to manufacture in Georgia and government of Georgia is ready to transfer land on a symbolic price, of course, on certain kind of investment obligation. In addition to that, we are ready also to provide training grants to companies who employ 15 or more employees in Georgia. So, taking into account all the above mentioned, it is clear that there has never been better time to invest in Georgia because we are open to new ideas, new investors, and new businesses than ever before. Thank you very much, and now I'm ready to ask the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Nino. Most appreciate it. We'll probably get to questions in a second if there are any coming up on the chat. I'm looking at the chat as we speak. But for now, can we move over to Shota to give his experience of actually having been one of the investors in Georgia? Thanks, Shota.
We can't hear, I'm afraid.
Shota, you're muted. Shota, I can see you as being muted. Oh dear. Okay, it appears we've lost Shota for a minute. So I think, I'll just add a little bit to what Nino was saying. I think Nino sort of highlighted many of the important points here. We have Shota back. So I'll cycle back to my opinions in a second. Shota, back to you.
Do you hear my voice now?
Yeah, I hear you very well now.
Okay, great. So I'm Shota Gogia, as you mentioned before. I'm Deputy Director of AE Solar. We got two factories, one in Asia and one in Georgia, in Europe, in Kutaisi. Our facility in Europe is 500 megawatts per year, and in China is 525 megawatts. So AE Solar was founded by Dr. Alexander Mayer and his brothers. It was family business from 2003 in renewable energy. In 2009, they opened the factory in China, in Asia, and then they raised it up to 525 megawatts. After that, we opened the factory in Kutaisi, which is targeting to US and targeting to Europe, because we got free trading, as Nino mentioned before, in lots of countries. It's Europe, Asia, China, Russia, US, and etc., etc. So why Georgia? I will mention what Nino already mentioned, because she covered everything. Just I will highlight the small points, so which was helpful for us to open the company in Georgia and to operate here. So free trade with lots of countries, as we mentioned, starting to US, Europe, and lots of countries. The location is one of the best location, because Georgia has the seaport, Georgia has railway, Georgia is in central of Europe, so you can, it's actually like between Europe and Asia, and it's easy to operate in everywhere in the world. So corruption is zero, which is great for the business. Low level of bureaucracy, so you can go and open the company in one day if you wish that. Government support means that they can, it depends on the projects, but they can help you to find, for example, find the land, to do the privatization. And as I mentioned, it depends also on the project. But anyway, also the tax regulations are great in Georgia. So there are, we are in a free industrial zone, and as Nino mentioned, so for us, like, there's less taxes than the regular, like in the country. But anyway, taxes are very low in Georgia. Utilities are very low. You can find very professional laborers, because here we got, for example, the renewable energy was like brand new in Georgia. We are first step, like made that factory here facility, and we are happy to make it in Georgia, because with laborers also we are very lucky. So we find very good laborers for us, and so team is great. What else I can tell like about Georgia? I think I covered everything. I think Nino covered everything, and I just highlighted. So
okay, that's great.
We are increasing our factory. We want to increase up to 1 giga. So let's see what's going to be.
No, that's fantastic. I've just seen a note from the organisers that we've only got 3 minutes left, which seems a bit strange, because I thought we had until 35, not 25. Is that right, or am I misunderstanding?
No, 25. We started on, it was 4-5 in Georgian time, so we got only 20 minutes. So we just.
Okay, in which case, I guess we need to wrap up. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I would simply want to highlight two things from the two speeches. I mean, one is that Shota's company decided to actually relocate some of their Chinese manufacturing to Georgia for a range of reasons. I know that some of it has to do with the regime for some of the protectionist regime of the two markets that we have extremely good market access to. So I'd highlight that. I'd also highlight, I mean, I've just finished doing a big project for EBRD, looking at a lot of companies, and would highlight this this tax model that got mentioned by both groups, that basically mean that if earnings get reinvested, then there is no income tax, there is no corporate income tax to be paid in the country, which is obviously extremely significant. Other than that, I'd just like to thank the two presenters for having given their quick but I think extremely solid summary of the country. And beyond that, I think I will certainly make myself available for the next few minutes in the main meeting room. Shota, Nino, are you going to be able to do that?
Yes, I will join. Yeah, sure.
Shota?
I will join in.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we'll be in there after this for a few minutes, and if hang on a second. I've got a meeting. I've got a question here about NATO and US military contract activities, but I'm really not sure that we actually have any time left. So I don't know. I don't know at what point I need to cut us off if there are questions that are still sort of coming through. I mean, I would simply want to highlight in terms of okay. I mean, I would want to highlight in answer to the question about NATO and US military contracts that there are a range of both government contracts and probably US Defense Department contracts if one were looking to supply the US DoD because of the US DoD's partnership in Georgia. I have to admit, I'm not conversant with the particulars of that. But if there's anybody who's particularly interested to look at the details of that, I would say, again, if they wanted to send me an email, I could actually try and find the right people to connect them to. I do think it's worth highlighting that at the moment, the Georgian government has a fairly expansive infrastructure development project, range of infrastructure development projects going on in the country, both roads, electrical, urban renewal, and a whole range of other areas. And we are certainly finding that a lot of international contractors are finding Georgia potentially an interesting place with that thought in mind. And so again, I think the key thing for anybody who's interested in that would be to reach out to some of us who are already here and to start talking to people and try and find local partners who might be interested in partnering up. There are certainly, particularly most of these contracts going through international financial organizations like the World Bank, ADB, EBRD. And so it's often the case that the tendering requirements are more extensive than the local companies can provide, but the local companies have the expertise. So there's a lot of partnership opportunities there, I would say. So definitely anybody wants to reach out to myself or Nino on this, we could try and connect you. With that, I think, as I say, once again, thank you very much for your comprehensive comments. And I look forward to talking to anybody who's interested in talking to us further. And I would say, people have often said about Georgia, it looks far better closer up. So once coronavirus is behind us, I encourage you to take the actual time to come and not just have the Zoom meeting, but come visit us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.